Crypto Kids, welcome back to another video. And I just woke up to this. Bitcoin hit $58,000 on some exchanges, and on Binance we hit $57,000. This was probably one of the best Bitcoin bull flag breakouts. And just a couple of minutes ago, I was dancing to Bitcoin Pump It Up, and I know you were too. Don't lie to yourselves. But today we're going to be discussing what can potentially happen to Bitcoin next. If you watched the live stream yesterday, we mentioned that if Bitcoin were to break above $54,500 on the daily time frame, we could be heading a lot higher in terms of momentum. And our initial resistance is now sitting at $60,000 for Bitcoin. I'll be discussing why that's super important and much more. So make sure to stay tuned until the end of today's video. Smash up the like button. Let's see if we can get this video to 700 likes to celebrate Bitcoin hitting 58K. And ladies and gents, don't forget to turn on the notification bell, because this is the time where you want to be watching every single video and not miss out. But without further ado, let's jump straight into the Bitcoin price and discuss the TA. Then we'll get into some breaking news, which are incredibly bullish. Now, the short-term time frame is not going to give us too much of an indication. We added more to our long positions as Bitcoin was giving us a fake out here with this trend line breakout, but eventually Bitcoin broke out from this bull flag and went up by 10.5%, hitting $57,000 here on Binance. So massive congrats if you were able to jump into a long position. I've been long on the $10,000 trading challenge ever since 43.2K, which was the breakout from the bullish pennant and inverse head and shoulders. So massive congrats. And if you are looking for a place to be trading Bitcoin, Bitflex and I are hosting an awesome Apple Watch giveaway. All you got to do is sign up using the link in the description below, and you can get a chance of winning an Apple Watch giveaway. And on top of that, you can get up to $68,000 worth in rewards and potentially get an Apple Vision Pro in the Flex shop within 3 days and 3 hours if you have enough Flex points. It's not available anywhere in the world other than the US. And this is probably one of the only ways to get it if you have Flex points. So that is dope. But going back into the Bitcoin price analysis, the short-term time frame isn't going to give us too much of an indication on where the price could be heading next. Therefore, we need to zoom out. So this is a chart that I've been talking about for a while on the channel. Now, this trend line goes back all the way to, I think, March of or September of 2015. And we've tested its support multiple times. This was a legendary test back in 2020. And then we broke down from it in 2022, going down to 15.5K. Eventually, we retested it as resistance, and now we're doing it once again, and in fact, breaking above it. In the live show yesterday, I mentioned that this resistance line is getting super weak, and the moment that Bitcoin flips it, it's probably going to be heading to new all-time highs. And on top of that, retail volume is not back into the markets yet. This entire pump that we've been seeing over the past couple of months have been fully institutional levels of volume, and retail isn't back. Like, if you go around asking your friends, they're probably like now checking their portfolios slightly, but the biggest mainstream media push was when Bitcoin was crossing $50,000, since that was a huge psychological level. And on top of that, you know, it was a whole number, right? $50,000, half of 100K. That was an important level for Bitcoin to breach past once again. And of course, the Bitcoin spot ETFs have been creating so much buzz in the media. So people were coming back, but it's nothing compared to what we were seeing in the previous bull market. We went through Google search trends. We saw that Wikipedia searches for Bitcoin are down 84%. And in conclusion, we're nowhere near where we were in the previous bull market, and that's super bullish. The moment Bitcoin goes above $56,500, like we mentioned in the live stream too, I think $60,000 is definitely very much possible. And at this point, we're going to be reaching or nearing all-time highs, which we're only like, 20% away from, which is mind-blowing. I mean, let that sink in, right? And as soon as we come to 66K, 60K, 69K, that's when people are going to be jumping back into Binance, their Bybit accounts or Bitflex accounts, and they're going to be seeing that, hold on, their portfolio is up a lot ever since the top of the previous bull market, and too many people are going to be in profit. So it's normal if we see a small sell-off at that point, but I think the retail volume, the daily buying pressure from the ETFs, and it going mainstream is just going to cause more and more institutional investors to accumulate the Bitcoin spot ETFs, add it to their Roth IRAs or 401ks more media is going to be coming in, more retail investors are going to be buying Bitcoin once again, and I think this will all push Bitcoin to a new all-time high of $90,000 for the end of this cycle. So that's my price prediction on what's going to be happening over the next couple of months. I also talked about volume increasing for Bitcoin as price is simultaneously increasing. This is usually a very, very good sign because volume predicts price. That's like one of the biggest fundamental, it's one of the fundamental layers of technical analysis. If volume is going up and price is going up, that's usually a very, very good sign. Now, my personal prediction for this cycle was super different just a couple of months back. Of course, it's shifted as Bitcoin's price shifted simultaneously. But my expectation was going back to previous cycles, Bitcoin corrects like 20-25% because that's what it does usually coming up to every single halving event, minor sell-off, etc. But Bitcoin is almost going to be reaching back to its prior all-time high level and creating a new all-time high for the first time before the actual halving event. This never happened in history before, and I started a poll on my Twitter account. Do you think this is going to happen? If it does, Bitcoin is going to be making history. But this time is different. Bitcoin is about to become the hardest and most scarce asset in the world after the 2024 halving. And on top of this, we have like $600 million worth of buying pressure into Bitcoin every single day. And there's only $46 million released into the supply. So the supply and demand does not meet up. And this is why Bitcoin is pumping at such a heavy rate. Now, Ethereum has been smashing above $3,150. That was our target. We've been buying Ethereum in like $2,100, $2,200. So let me just double check. But we were accumulating spot as soon as Ethereum broke out of that ascending triangle. So there it is. Massive congrats if you were able to accumulate Ethereum, because we knew that with the spot ETFs, even though if it doesn't get accepted, the hype enough is probably going to cause Ethereum to skyrocket much higher. So when we were seeing this retest, we accumulated more Ethereum. And we also talked about if we were to break 2.6K, Ethereum could go a lot higher and test 3.15K. So that was an awesome TA breakdown there. What I expect next is for Ethereum to potentially go up to 3.5K because that's the next level of crucial resistance. Now, altcoins are not pumping as much as they should be because the altcoin season is not happening yet. So I checked Ethereum BTC and the chart is going back down. So I talked about that. We broke above a crucial trend line. However, now, ladies and gents, Bitcoin is performing better than Ethereum once again. So I think the altcoin season is delayed till after the halving. That's when it usually takes place anyways. So we just need to be waiting for retail investors to be coming back in because altcoin season cannot happen without new retail volume. The people that we have already in crypto, usually it's not enough. We need new entrants to be coming in. And that's when we see the full-fledged altcoin season, and I'm expecting this to be happening in the summer of 2024. So be prepared. It's probably going to be the biggest and the last altcoin seasons that we have in the crypto market. Now's the time to be researching, grinding, and it should pay off in the next couple of months. But that was the Bitcoin TA for you. I hope that was helpful. Let's go into the breaking news because we do have some news for Bitcoin. In terms of liquidity, we claimed all the liquidity, like there is nothing up. So we don't have much liquidity that's piled up at the top levels. This is concerning. However, it's just going to be a matter of time to see what's going on because Bitcoin has entered that cycle, that stage in the cycle where it just keeps on pumping, doesn't obey laws of physics or TA. And you probably know exactly what I'm talking about if you've been in the space for a long time. Now, the Bitcoin ETF volumes today will probably be a record day in terms of inflows. The volume has been, for IBIT, we made a new all-time high with the BlackRock ETF, and all the other ETFs are sitting in the second highest volume since launch. In terms of the inflows, you can see here that it was $515 million yesterday, but because the ETF data sits at T+1, so today, when we see the ETF inflows today, that's going to be reflecting on yesterday's inflows, or today's inflows, actually. I hope that wasn't confusing. But tomorrow, we should be seeing a much more bullish data in terms of ETF inflows, and it could be probably higher than what we saw on day one, and it will be the highest amount of inflows that we would have seen ever since the inception of the ETFs. But BlackRock, the IBIT ETF has hit an all-time high. But this video, it's probably one of the best videos I've watched in a long time that talks about our financial system. It's been posted by the president of El Salvador. I definitely recommend watching it. It's 2.5 minutes long, so I'll summarize it to you right now. But he talks about how the financial system basically works. So a government taxes you, but taxes are not what funds the government. What funds the government are bonds. And who purchases these bonds? The central bank or the Federal Reserve. And how does the Federal Reserve have money? By printing money from thin air. So that's kind of the cycle that we're in right now, and that is why, well, there's huge amounts of debt being released into the market. As a matter of fact, the Treasury borrowed another $36 billion, pushing the federal debt to 34.4 trillion, which is unbelievable. That's why the stock market is pumping, because they're borrowing money, injecting it. So we're in this huge bubble that when it eventually bursts, everybody's going to be going back into Bitcoin because they have no other option. In hyperinflationary countries, Bitcoin is the only option they have to hedge against inflation and continue their daily lives. That's why Bitcoin is going to be super important. And against the United States dollar, we may even be at a $1 million Bitcoin very soon, sooner than we think, if the US dollar devalues in the upcoming months and years. So that was super interesting. Bitcoin is breaking new all-time highs in US-dominated treasuries, and it's also breaking new all-time highs in so many currencies around the world. There's just a new currency that's added to the list every single day. The volumes for the ETFs are, of course, at new all-time high levels, and the crypto market appears to have entered the hope phase in the psychology of a market cycle. So that would be right here. A recovery is possible, but I think we're now in the optimism stage of the rally. Because now we're saying the rally is real, we're back into the bull market, it's going crazy. So I think we're in the optimism stage, meaning that we have so much more time to go until we reach euphoria and then head towards a market top. And that top that I'm expecting to happen is going to be $90,000. This was super interesting because here they talk about how the Bitcoin ETFs are different to the CME launch or the Coinbase IPO, because this time around we're actually seeing buying pressure into Bitcoin, physical buying pressure that we did not see with the CME that caused Bitcoin to surge by 84%. But the CME brought volume to Bitcoin, but it didn't actually bring in physical buying pressure. And that's pretty much it. Michael Saylor's profits are now in his holdings are in $10.8 billion, and his profits are in 76%, which is equivalent to $4.6 billion. I mean, it's just mind-blowing. He bought the top, which we said was the top yesterday, but turns out was not the top. So Michael Saylor, a legend in DCAing, and he's probably one of the biggest geniuses of our time. He's someone that I look up to and I idolize. But on top of that, other than Michael Saylor, all the whales seem to be accumulating Bitcoin. They're not selling. They're in huge realized profits, I think like 40%, but it's not enough for them to sell or take profits. They're still accumulating, and this is causing the price of Bitcoin to surge. There is one metric which is super important to be looking out for in terms of on-chain data. Long-term accumulators and short-term holders are buying up and accumulating Bitcoin together at the first time. Like, this has not happened in history before. And this will really cause the price of Bitcoin to rally to new astronomical levels. But I hope that video was an awesome one, and hopefully it gave you some guidance into potentially where Bitcoin could be heading next. In terms of the Fear and Greed Index, Bitcoin is sitting at 79, extreme greed. And if we look at the previous history for Bitcoin, the top of the bull market was sitting at, I think, 85, if I'm not wrong. So let's refresh this page and see if the chart reloads. But the Fear and Greed Index was sitting at like 85, 89 in the top of the previous bull market. And now we're sitting at like 79. So yes, we need to be a little bit cautious, but I think, this is an infinite metric. It doesn't really matter where we are. We can even reach 99 greed, right? But it just shows us that we got to be a little bit more cautious now. And we're probably coming closer, or, stepping up the ladders where we reach a Bitcoin top. But that's it for me, guys. I just wanted to bring this video out as quick as possible, because I know that Bitcoin may be a lot higher in the upcoming hours, or we may see a reversal. So, but thank you so much for watching. Tonight, I will drop the video that I was talking about, because so much has been happening over the past couple of days. But thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I will see you all in the next one very soon. Take care, guys, and bye-bye.